Hey, what's up? How you doing? Fantastic, magnificent. Let's get into this shit right fucking now. So the reason I'm making this thing in the first place is because my only claim to fame is Jack Black plays Megalovania on the saxophone. And I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if other people knew how to make this too? Well, why don't we start off with how I made this? I use Sony Vegas Pro, the 13, 14, 15, it doesn't matter. Just get it. It makes life so much easier doing this than using Premiere Pro or Adobe After Effects. So here it is. This is the Sony Vegas file for Jack Black Megalovania. So as you can see, it's just a stockpile of a lot of sound files, but it's actually not that complicated. The majority of this is literally just copy and paste. So one thing we have right here is well, the sample file. Let me isolate this so it can't easily get confused. This is literally just the sound of the saxophone. Just that. That's all. That's all you'll need to actually start making the song. So now let's move on to doing that. Alright, so we've got the saxophone sound file right here. And well, obviously, what we want to do now is get Megalovania in here. But let's just take this first part. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to take this sound, and you can see the sound waves. You can see them. And what you want to do is you want to match them up, obviously, with where the sound waves are. So obviously it's not going to sound magnificent, but it should generally sound like this, regardless of what sample you've used. It should sound like that. Now, this is the hard part, the pitch shifting. This is the part where you need to shift it to make it sound, well, like Megalovania. Thankfully, this sample is in D key, and D key is what Megalovania starts with. If you're using another sample, you might not be so fortunate, so you might need to keep fiddling around with it until you get lucky. Unfortunately, with the pitch shifting segment, I can't help out too much, but what I can recommend is you put this thing on it to make it loop, and then you can keep pitch shifting it until you hear if it's the right note. So if I keep going, and that's the right note. So now you get the gist. You just need to keep looping until you obviously find the right pitch. It is tedious, but I plan on showing other methods on how to make this easier. And I've finished pitch shifting. It will not sound like the original, because I used a separate sample from when he was playing the saxophone to make it sound more authentic rather than virtual and computerized, but I'm just doing this as an example. Well, that probably didn't sound too easy at all, and that's because it's not. It's really tedious, and it is hard, and the only way to get better at doing it is through repetition, through time, and through effort. It is a shitty method, absolutely, and this is why I'm going to be showing you a second method that hopefully proves to be a little easier. It involves FL Studio. FL Studio is a free program, but you can pay for assets, grant you more accessibility to the program, but that's not what we're here to talk about. You can easily record your finished product with Shadowplay, OBS, just any screen recording application to pretty much steal what you've made from FL Studio, because FL Studio does this stingy thing where it doesn't let you export what you've created if you're using the free trial. Alright, so here is FL Studio, and in here I can actually show two methods of what you can do in order to make a sample into Megalovania. So, for the sake of originality, I'm going to get a sound file that's not the saxophone one, that isn't immediately pitch shifted to D. I hope. Okay, so it's not funny, but I got this fart sound effect, and basically we're gonna be making Megalovania with it. So well, this part, it does require some understanding of music theory, because you actually have to know, well, music programs in order to know this part, because yeah, you get the point. You need to know what sequence Megalovania plays on a piano, but not to fear. There's a program, and there's videos of Megalovania being played on a program called Synthesia. I think that's how it's pronounced, but you can simply look at that, then match it up with this keyboard, and then you can decipher it for yourself. So, yeah, but, yeah, you can chuck in a sound sample. But the thing is, the issue is, this is out of time. Megalovania is in 120 BPM, so if you want it to, well, be in time, 120. So, this is the obvious sequence on the piano of what Megalovania is. I've used a sample, and I've slightly, pitch shifted it to, fit Megalovania, because, and obviously to compare, we have Megalovania. Here it is. Here's the comparison. It's not in time, but it's the same thing. So, what I've just shown you is one of two methods. This next method will require both FL Studio and Sony Vegas, and this comes into play with the screen recording, as we will be using an asset in FL Studio called Nyeh that cannot be exported through the free trial of FL Studio. Alright, for this segment, I've acquired a video that will be put through Nyeh. Obviously,
I got a pizza here. Oh!
I think some of you are aware with this video, but what I'll essentially be doing is I'll be doing what I did with the pitch shifting, matching it up with the audio, but I will be doing this because I'll be exporting the audio pattern and then putting it into the aforementioned Nyeh asset in FL Studio in order to pitch shift it. It's another form of pitch shifting, and it sustains it to one note, so I can re-export it back into Sony Vegas and pitch shift it again to match Megalovania. We'll go through the process, and it will sound a lot easier when I actually do it. So, as you can see, it's done from what I've just previewed, and this is the part where I delete this part, which is obviously actual Megalovania, and I export this, or render. This is an audio file, so it doesn't save the video. The video will come later. That's if you plan on incorporating it into a video of your own, obviously. But, I'll show you. Alright, so here we are back in, FL Studio, and, I've exported this sound file. Over.
Hey, yo, the pizza here.
And now, finally, here's the program. This is New Tone. New Tone. Click and drag, your sound file, and then it just dumps it in there. And then what you do is that you Control A, select all of it, put it to C, because that's the, middle C, that's the default key on piano. And now it's going to sound like one note, hopefully, but it hasn't been adjusted yet, so it will sound a little bit weird. Now, with some adjustments... So, that sounds pretty decent. So, it doesn't sound tremendous, but it's tried its very best to put it at C, so we will only know what it's gonna be like once, once we see in Sony Vegas. Alright, so here we have the video. I just need to make a volume adjustment since I've just used Shadowplay to bring it here. And as you can tell, it matches up with the footage. So now, this is the part where I chop it up into bits and make it work with Megalovania. So as you can see, it's been chopped up and pitch shifted. Essentially what New Tone has done, it's made our job a little bit easier to pitch shift it to the correct pitch of Megalovania. However, it can vary if the sound sample, like, alternates too much in pitch and variant, which really suck because you'll need to obviously refer back to looping and then changing pitch until it eventually matches it. But this is the final product. It is not good. This is just a rough example of what you can do with New Tone, FL Studio, and Sony Vegas and the power of pitch shifting. So it's not great, and it doesn't sound great by itself either. But it's a step in the right direction. With enough effort put in, obviously, you can achieve wonders. You can make miracles happen with this. Well, that's about all the methods, and I really apologize if you were expecting a really easy tutorial, like something to do with like Audacity and just like vocoding and just chucking a file on top of a sound and hopefully it transforms into Megalovania somehow. Yeah, but the methods I have shown you are the ones that I've used for several videos, so I hope in some way they are able to help you. So, thank you very much for watching.